In this video, we're going to talk about how to run for president. I'm not even going to pretend that that is easy. I know I have been involved in 4. It is hard, it is hard, it is hard. But what I will tell you is there are 5 things that people who run for president do extraordinarily well. Even if they don't make it, they last a long time in the primary process. And I'm going to tell you what those steps are that they take. And by the way, if you're a student who's here to learn, stick with me because you'll end up writing your best term paper ever. So what we're going to cover in this video is when to start working at your campaign, the kind of people that you need to have in your corner who are going to help you win, the importance of developing a campaign message, the importance of raising money, the importance of being available, the importance of talking, the importance of the free press in running a political campaign, and your advertising. Now, these things in modern age, in modern politics, all of these things are things that the winners did extraordinarily well. These are things that the winners of their party's nomination, these are things that the candidates who lasted a long time in the winnowing process did extraordinarily well. So stick with me. So I'm going to start out by saying if you want to run for president in the year 2028, you're going to spend 4 years of your life in pursuit of that goal. So if you're serious about winning a nomination for president or being on the ballot in 2028, you need to start the day after the next presidential election because it takes people that long to put it together. Why does it take so long? It's because of what happens over the course of a campaign, the markers that you have to pass to reach the finals. Number 1 is there's a campaign that you have to win among what we call the influencers. Now here's the truth about voters in the United States. There are rank and file voters, and then there are opinion leaders and influencers who help those voters make their decision. They are people who put money into political campaigns. They are people who lead every conceivable kind of interest group there is in the United States of America. They are stakeholders in the process. They are stakeholders in the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. They have an outsized influence on the kind of people who make it past the successive stages. They determine who wins and who loses in the early primaries, and incidentally, you'll have to win several of them to make it to the end. They are the people who influence the balloting at a convention, and sometimes they are contested. They are the people who help voters decide who to vote to in a general election. Now, to get ready for a year of your life when you have caucus after caucus and primary after primary, there are a lot of ducks to put in order before you reach that stage, which brings me to my second point. The contest among the influencers and the opinion leaders. Before I continue, I've just finished a new ebook, The 12 Essential Steps to Prepare for a Political Campaign. If you're serious about running for president or even just curious about what candidates should do before a campaign starts, go to the link underneath this video and get your free copy. Now, I mentioned that it takes 4 years to run for president, so the question is, what do you do during the first 2 if there are no primaries or caucuses until after 2027? And the answer is you're running all over the country courting influencers. Now, who are the influencers that help determine who becomes a president? They are political party leaders. They are elected officials of the party with which you are affiliated. They are special interest groups that care passionately about who the leader of the free world is. They are the leaders of ethnic groups that have a sizable share of the U.S. population. What presidential candidates are doing during that 2 years of the 4-year campaign is talking individually with people in this category who can help spread their message to voters in their own tribe. That's essentially what it is. That is a massive number of meetings, courting people one-on-one, because these influencers expect to be courted. And if you want their help, they expect some one-on-one time with you. This is what presidential candidates do during the first 2 years of what is a 4-year campaign. The third thing before you get too far down the road is to construct what we call your campaign message. Now, this is true in any campaign, but it's especially true in a presidential race. Voters are going to have questions for you, and if they knew to ask them this way, this is what they would ask you if they had the chance. What makes you qualified to do the job? What about your background, the other offices you've held, what you've done in your life, make you qualified to be the leader of the free world? They're going to want to know that your moral code and your values and that your notions of right and wrong are in sync with theirs. What kind of people do you care about? What kind of people do you want to help? Who are you going to tax and who are you not going to tax? Do you care about young mothers with children? Or if so, what kind of program are you going to initiate with them? They've got to have some sense of what is underneath your onion before they're going to feel comfortable voting for you. The third thing they're going to expect you to tell them is where you're going to take the country. What are you going to do? What's your vision? Are you a candidate that kind of wants to go back, who thinks we've gone too far on certain things, or are you a candidate that has a futuristic view of where we are and our place in the world and the kind of energy policy we're going to have and what kind of foreign policy, what kind of economic policy? Now, the influencers that you're meeting are going to expect cogent answers to these questions. The fourth thing voters are going to have for you is, how do I know I can trust you? That's their way of saying, do you have the kind of character that I can trust? Do you have the kind of character that tells me that you're always going to have my back and making the best decisions either for me or for the good of the country? And quite often, candidates answer that question by telling a story about where they came from. Good days, there are bad days, there are times when things didn't work very well, and times of joy and times of happiness. It's another way of peeling back your onion so that voters know what makes you tick and what your priorities are. It's what we call your signature story in a presidential campaign. That thing that motivates you to do what every voter knows is a very difficult process. Now, the final thing you need to do in a message is you got to tell people why you and not the other candidates. Why you, not them. What makes you better in case you're running in a multi-candidate field? What things can you tell voters and influencers that makes you the best choice among a multi-candidate field of candidates? That is a campaign message. That is a message that voters will expect you to tell them over the course of a presidential campaign. And ultimately what they're going to decide is this. Who do I trust the most? Who cares about me? Who's going to do the best job of leading the country? Because voters know intrinsically they can't predict every decision you're going to make, but they do know they have to be willing to trust your judgment when they get there. And it's a choice they take very seriously in a presidential campaign. Well, I have so much to share that this video has gotten a little long, so we're going to break it into 2 parts. So stay tuned for part 2, because you need to see that one as well.